Welcome back to Cylance TV. I'm Matt Stevenson here with Jack Callaghan, and what better place to talk about machine learning and artificial intelligence than by the beach in Southern California. Now, Jack, you've been around a few blocks when it comes to IT, machine learning, AI. I believe you got your start in cybernetics. A lot of people don't even know what that means in the grand scheme of things compared to where we are today. True. Tell us briefly your story from the beginning of time to where we are right now with machine learning and AI. Go.
Yeah, that's the danger with old guys, we ramble, so I will cut it tighter. My history began in the 70s. You know, when everybody else was probably doing other things, I was spending my time in the labs wondering how I could make machines think.
We appreciate that.
And then we found through the years that there was a huge dearth during the 90s until we got to here, when suddenly in that past we had lots of dreams but not much horsepower. Now we have a future where there's plenty of horsepower and dreams that we're trying to figure out how to match to technology. As we talked before, one of the things we're on the edge of, I believe, right now is we talk about artificial intelligence. I don't know if it's really there yet. Specific artificial intelligence, it is. Systems that are custom designed to deliver service to us that seem human in nature. Having sentient systems that will eventually operate, perhaps be the next generation. You know, humans went from Neanderthal to Homo sapiens sapien. Well, maybe Homo erectus is the next life form.
Oh, I like that.
You know,
Homo artificial, Homo intelligentsia? We got Homo superior, we got the mutants already thanks to Marvel, so we'll get there.
Indeed. I wonder about the mutant gene for cybernetics. No.
Interesting.
Would be cool. That being said, we're at a point in history now, I think, where we're trying to figure out how to apply this resource to our needs. And I think also understanding how we apply the resource to our needs. You know, there was a point in time when we were first dreaming about AI that we thought, how could we make this thing work as a resource for ourselves? Now we're at the point where we're just marveling about the fact that it works at all. I think we need to go back to the old days of Star Trek where you appeared someplace with a tricorder that was a tool for you, not something you sat on the beach all day long and wondered.
Yeah.
And I think we're facing that right now in technology. We're trying to figure out how to make it work.
So are we at risk of just marveling so much at our creations, we're missing the fact that we can start applying them very specifically to those needs, as opposed to, let's make one thing that does everything for almost everybody?
For the old folks like myself who sit around and watch that migration all the way through time to here, it's a concern. You know, we're very worried about how can we make this happen without being eaten up by the technology. A lot of dystopic science fiction that's out right now about the fact that countries, worlds are consumed by their marvel in technology. I think we need to get back to making this a resource that serves us. You know, one of the reasons being here at the conference that I think is a real keynote. A lot of things we're doing with the Internet of Things, all sorts of technology that, as we mentioned, a movie that occurred a few years back, it was so wonderful to do a thing, we should have really wondered whether or not we, instead of could, should. And we're facing that kind of thing with technology right now, trying to understand what we want to do. And I think we need to merge those things together so we understand how things operate. I think at this point in time, figuring that out is our biggest challenge. And because folks don't always have the history, they look at it now and take it in that sense. Well, it's great, let's do this. Well, how about we look at it across 30 or 40 years and go, what did we really want this to become?
Yeah, they marvel at the last 10 years, forgetting the 30 years that built up to that first tiny baby step.
Indeed, it got us here.
All the work that you've done and all of your experience across the IT industry in general, when you look at what's happening today with machine learning, is there a particular spoke of that wheel that seems to be closest? None of them are mature, I think we can all acknowledge that. But is there one area where you can say, that really seems to be working and on its way to being what we think it can be?
I think both what could evolve to a productive state soonest and what we need soonest. I remember in the late 80s, early 90s, we were building sentient environments. I mean, we built extremely expensive environments, but systems that I could walk in and talk to. Mm-hmm. You know, in the old days, I'd use the old deck talks and I'd speak to the system and say, what's going on? It would tell me. That really never caught on. Perhaps science fiction just kind of made people afraid of technology. But we've continued to need that detection and that response. I mean, the net's too fast for any 10, 100, or 1,000 people to suddenly figure out and detect what's going on and figure a solution. We need incident response and that handling that looks this up, deduces what's going on, works potentially, and this is where we might get Skynet, but works with other intelligences, human and synthetic, to draw a response and to decide on a plan or an action to deal with a threat. I mean, when you can field a botnet across tens of thousands of nodes around the globe, you need to be able to field a collection of detectors and defenders who do the same thing.
Yeah.
They should be able to put out the fire in their corners, you know, so that it never amasses into a criticality that takes down a big business or wipes out connectivity on part of the network or takes out DNS. We need to be able to have that distributed defense. I think we're close to that. I think especially in, you know, that's why I'm such a fan of Cylance's approach to artificial intelligence. Or,
Shameless plug.
Yeah, shameless plug. Or machine learning, which I should be careful to say. We're at a point now where we can take this kind of knowledge, put it together, and deduce threat. Not wait to get hammered, but actually respond to it in advance. I mean, there used to be the old story with all the security people. It's like, we have to get it right every single time.
Yep.
Bad guy has to get it right only once. Wrong. Nowadays, what has to occur is the bad guy has to stay completely invisible all the way through the attack. Because if we see any traces, bam, they're gone. There are a lot of attackers who are getting nailed in recon, in early threat, before they can get a foothold and come after us. Which leaves us, of course, as always, the ones who aren't so great, they get caught early. The ones who are really good at it are going to come into play. And we want to be able to have defense systems that are also waiting for them, too. Sort of a black ice concept, if you believe in the whole cyber environment. It should be waiting to defend.
So if people are looking for you, you got so much good stuff going on. Where can they find you on the internet, out in the world? Where's Jack?
Okay. You can find me at www.night-desk.com. It's a blog that's more privacy-oriented for the individuals. As I've often said, I think the companies are getting good control over what's going on, but us as individuals, I think it's the key now. I'm trying to make sure that people understand 100 years ago, you didn't even have a key to your house or to anything. Now, you wouldn't think of not locking your house or your car. I think also we need to have that same mentality when it comes to our technology. We're plugged into the internet. If we don't have a reasonable defense, we're going to become part of those that are harvested in the disasters that occur on a regular basis.
So Jack, I help you be part of the solution instead of part of the problem. As always, if you're looking for us, we are at threatvector.cylance.com. On Twitter, it is @Cylance Inc. and @Cylance Insider. My name is Matt Stevenson. You can find me at PacMatt73 on Twitter and Instagram. This is why we seek out the experts for these sorts of things. I can't guarantee we'll get you the answer, but we got lots of questions. Come on back.